what makes a good teen drama?
Moody, don't forget, you need to get this permission slip signed by your father or mother.
Mother!
This is Moody's point. It was a sketch on The Amanda Show, a parody of teen dramas like Degrassi, One Tree Hill, and more specifically, Dawson's Creek. It played itself seriously while being as absurdist as possible. Dan Snyder, the creator of The Amanda Show, loved this sketch, so much so that he brought the idea of building it out into a series to Nick. Nick shot down the idea, so Snyder repurposed it. He removed the satire and the over-the-top comedy and played it straight. This idea became teen dramas were almost ubiquitous in the late 90s and early 2000s across nearly every network, but Zoey 101 was an anomaly. For one, it worked, but more importantly, it was presented, written, and shot in ways that were dramatically different than anything else Nick or Disney was doing at the time. It was also better, and its best episode has endured for longer than almost anything else from the Teen Nick era. See, there are 4 pillars of television dramas, or dramedies, that make them distinct from a typical sitcom. Zoey 101, and in particular, the Season 2 episode Time Capsule, exemplifies these pillars. It starts with how the show is shot.
We're so not cool. Anyway.
These videos exist for basically every Snyder show and most of the shows from the Teen Nick era, almost all shot on sound stages most of the time in front of studio audiences. But Zoey took a different route. Time Capsule is an episode in which the students all bury something on campus in a pod, with the intent of it being opened in 20 years. Zoey buries a DVD with a message to Chase, and he wants to know what that message is now. The episode was shot mostly outside on location, and we'll get to that location soon, but this episode in particular takes advantage of its style. Zoey 101 does not feature laugh tracks, it's not shot in front of a studio audience, and that's a decision that keeps the focus on the dialogue, and unlike most Snyder sitcoms, it's shot using a multi-cam setup. The lack of a laugh track allows for moments like these.
You'll find out in 20 years.
Alright, I laid down the drum track last night and did a rough mix. How you coming with the lyrics? Chase.
It allows the editors to be a bit more stylistic and put it in line with something you'd expect from a more traditional network drama, while the multicam production allows for the team to set up creative shots that are more visually interesting than something you get out of a, say, Phil of the Future, like this one from inside the vending machine Dustin gets his arm stuck in, giving the show a bit more of a visual flair than you might expect out of the other shows airing on the network. But more poignantly, these 2 decisions keep the show grounded, in a place where you the viewer subconsciously know to be focused on narrative as opposed to looking for humor. All too often with these shows, we respond to the laugh tracks in the studio audience as opposed to what's actually happening. In Time Capsule, you're taken all over PCA's campus with a focus on dialogue, and the multicam setup and on-location filming makes PCA feel like a large, living, breathing place, as opposed to the static, almost 2-dimensional feel of single-cam Nick shows, which in turn lends a bit of realism to the episode, making moments like these actually feel a bit tense.
You're insane! Just keep digging! What do you think I'm doing, having a shrimp cocktail?
And this moment is important because of the second pillar, serialization. The term refers to shows whose narrative and character arcs stretch across multiple episodes and sometimes seasons. In Time Capsule, the kids have known each other for over a year, well enough to have developed relationships we understand, and relationships that carry over from episode to episode, season to season, decisions that impact the future of these characters. When an episode of a typical Snyder show is over, that's usually kind of it. Drake is dating a different girl every episode, and sure, Josh has Mindy, but that's a rare aberration of that formula. A formula that works for shows like Drake and Josh. Time Capsule, on the other hand, works because Chase and Zoey's relationship has changed so much over the first season and become something that's evolved to the point where the viewers have become attached. We're seeing every episode helps you understand those relationships better. We are Chase. We want to know what Zoey said because we want the status quo of the show to change, because we know that change will stick. Take Logan and Quinn. Their relationship, them getting together, is a secret from the rest of the group except for Dustin. This secret impacts nearly an entire season's worth of episodes and interactions, and yet the show ends with the secret still intact. Still, no one but the viewer and Dustin knowing the truth, making the viewer feel as though they're in on something no one else is, creating attachment. Drama only works if we know the stakes are high. Zoey 101 raised them just enough through its commitment to true serialized content. But this is why we watched.
Oh my god, I can see the ocean from here.
Pacific Coast Academy drove basically every event in the show's narrative. Schneider stated before the show's filming that PCA would be a, quote, living fantasy for school kids, a place where, as he put it, the students would live on their own, managing their own lives, which is exactly what the show accomplished. The third pillar of building a teen drama is setting. Gilmore Girls had Stars Hollow, Degrassi had, well, Degrassi High, and Dawson's Creek had, well, you get the point. Zoey 101 was shot during the summers on Pepperdine's Malibu campus, a real college, but the producers turned that campus into the greatest school on earth. The campus is gorgeous, the beach is right there, but there's sushi near every dorm. Those dorms look like this. There's a movie theater on campus. PCA was the school that every kid wanted to go to. Time Capsule was basically a tour of that campus, the athletic fields, the restaurants, the dorms, the classrooms. It was a tour de force of the Disney World of schools. Tuition must have cost a life's fortune, but its believability made burying that time capsule feel like something you might go dig up one day. It felt authentic, like it was being buried in a real place these characters could and would return to. As odd as it sounds, there was real world building when it came to PCA's existence, the rules of that campus, and where things were. And that campus, in that world building, also afforded the kids a chance to be the stars, make their own decisions, and drive their own stories. Sure, they did have to worry about keeping their grades up, but from there, PCA's sprawling fantasy allowed them freedom, and that freedom was the fantasy of each and every one of its viewers. It ensured the show avoided the sitcom tropes of the rest of the network's family-oriented lineup. Still, those lives being lived at PCA is what people stayed for. The fourth pillar is one that holds nearly all of the weight of the previous three on its shoulders: its character. Well, a revolving cast of characters. She turned into Victoria Justice, she just kind of disappeared, and he turned into Austin Butler for half a season. But character is what drives drama. If you don't care about Chase, then why would you care about this moment?
You wanna be alone?
This show, moments like these, took its characters seriously. Because of that, each of them are well defined and are slowly developed in ways traditional teen sitcoms often fail at. Logan eventually becomes a tolerable guy, Quinn slowly evolves into a normal human being, and Chase and Zoey's development gravitates around one another. So in Time Capsule, you have a pretty good idea of what Zoey probably says on that tape. You know why it's important to Chase, and what seems like manic behavior to unearth the realities of this video turns into a moment of character development for its male lead.
Is this wrong?
Is what wrong?
For me to watch Zoe's DVD without her permission. Is it wrong?
Does it feel wrong?
Kinda.
This slow burn of that development gave the show a chance to break the personality archetypes these shows normally revolve around. It gave Logan that chance to ground himself. It gave Quinn that chance to fit in. It gave Dustin the opportunity to grow up. When your show is focused almost exclusively on relationships and interaction, and the humor is a secondary tool, you have the time in your scripts to build drama in something that feels a bit more organic and less, look at me, I'm funny.
What?
Your eyebrows blew off.
It's hard to tell how much of Zoey 101's legacy is due to the enduring fantasy of PCA or its actual substance, but regardless, the show established a clear connection with audiences over its 4 seasons. So much so that there was apparently very legitimate talks of rebooting the series with the now substantially older cast. So much so that a reunion of these characters in real life became near national news. I think a lot of this has to do with Zoey 101 being a kind of time capsule for our own childhoods. The desire to be our own people, to eat sushi whenever we wanted, have friends that we live next to in places like this. A place where a school becomes a playground for becoming an adult. Dramas are hard to pull off, yet the drama born out of a sketch designed to ridicule its very nature is still being talked about over a decade since its finale. The best shows are the shows that you can dig up 10, 20 years later out from under the dirt of every memory you've had since, and immediately recognize who you were when you first saw them and how that part of you has stayed the very same all these years later.
His name is Chase Matthews, and he's one of the funniest, coolest,
That is it for today's episode of Nerdstalgic. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more of the best episode series, hit that like button down below. If you have not yet done so, press subscribe if you want to make sure that you get all the content that's coming to this channel and want to see more of Nerdstalgic. Also hit the little bell. That little bell makes sure that when you do subscribe, you're actually notified when the videos come out, so you won't miss any of them. And on your screen right now are 2 more episodes of Nerdstalgic. You can click on one of those to see more of this channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video.